When America's elite forces, the Army Green Berets, the Navy SEALs, Delta Force, and Marine Recon, need a helping hand, they know they can rely on Air Force Special Operations Wing. Highly specialized equipment and relentless training make the Air Force's Special Operations Wing uniquely qualified for demanding and sensitive missions. Special Ops squadrons have seen more combat over the past decades than any other Air Force units. Bosnia, Grenada, Panama, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Their unique aircraft and special capabilities make them especially well suited to the demands of close air support, besides civilians or friendly forces. In the 1960s, the American Armed Forces realized that more attention had to be paid to low-intensity combat, the brutal Third World conflicts involving irregular and guerrilla forces. Specialized aircraft, though not necessarily high-tech, were needed for these missions. During Vietnam, these operations entailed helicopter and close air support. But in 1979, when Iran held 52 Americans hostage for 444 days, the tactics of the Air Force changed dramatically.
We like to call Ayatollah Khomeini, in a sense, the godfather of modern special ops, because it was there where we played a major role in the attempted rescue of the American hostages in Iran. And from that time forward, we began to get perhaps the kind of resources that we needed to do this job in the modern era.
The U.S. Air Force's Special Operations Command, headquartered at Hurlburt Field in Florida, is the result of these efforts. Also based at Hurlburt Field is the 16th Special Operations Wing. This unit is different from most Air Force wings in the variety of aircraft it flies. Most wings fly only a single type of aircraft.
We have the MC-130, it's a variation of the C-130, and it essentially is a penetrator. It allows us to go deep into enemy territory or hostile airspace with a C-130 size airplane. The third fixed-wing bird is a HC-130. It is a tanker, principally, and its role is to air refuel our helicopters. Now, the two helicopters we have are sort of large and a smaller one. That is the H-53 variant, the MH-53J paid low, which is, again, a penetrator asset which can go deep. The MH-60 is our light lift helicopter, also air refuelable. It can go deep as well, but does not have all of the penetration avionics that either the 53 or, say, MC-130 have.
The MC-130 is called Combat Talon. Its mission is to deliver special forces deep behind enemy lines, either by parachute or by landing at improvised fields. The long nose on this aircraft houses a special terrain-following radar, enabling it to fly at treetop level, too low to be detected by enemy radar. To conceal itself further, its missions are usually flown at night. The MC-130 has other delivery capabilities as well. During the 1991 Gulf War, one of Combat Talon's special missions was the delivery of BLU-82B Daisy Cutter bombs. About 10 Daisy Cutters were used against frontline bunker complexes, intended to discourage the Iraqi troops from offering serious resistance to the initial American onslaught. At the time, they were the largest conventional bombs in service. They have since been replaced by the massive 10 and 3/4 ton Moab GPS-guided bomb, otherwise known as Massive Ordnance Air Blast, or mother of all bombs. Fitted with a Fulton surface-to-air recovery system, Combat Talon has also been used to extract troops and equipment deep within enemy territory without having to land. This retrieval device snags a line suspended by special balloons and then briskly winches in the soldiers or equipment. In 1996, the Air Force officially retired the Fulton system, preferring to recover valuable assets using long-range heavy-lift helicopters like the MH-53 Pavlo. Used by the Marine Corps as its primary heavy-lift helicopter. Unlike the Marine version, the Pavlo is fitted with an elaborate selection of sensors on its nose, allowing it to fly along treetops beneath enemy radar. Pavlos are also used to rescue downed pilots deep behind enemy lines. In 1991, one of the Pavlo's secret missions was to lead the first attack on Iraqi air defenses, guiding in Apache attack helicopters to destroy Iraqi radars.
The significant difference between that airplane and others is that, number one, it has a terrain-following, terrain avoidance radar, which allows the bird to operate as low as 100 feet at night or in adverse weather conditions when one perhaps could not see outside the airplane, and do so safely. The other capability is a very good FLIR, a forward-looking infrared set on the bird, which gives you night visibility. And perhaps most important of all is the fact it has an enhanced navigation system, which includes an inertial navigation platform and global positioning system, which allows us to go very long distances very precisely and to arrive within seconds. The beauty of this machine is that it is specifically designed, as I indicated earlier, to go deep and get there when it's supposed to get there and get where it's supposed to go on time.
The MH-60 Pave Hawk is a short-ranged counterpart to the Pavlo. It is based on the UH-60 Black Hawk, the Army's standard troop-carrying helicopter. Like the Pavlo, it has advanced night vision, night navigation gear, and a refueling probe which extends its combat range. Essential to many long-range missions is the need to refuel the aircraft in flight. This is the task of the HC-130 tanker. The HC-130 has special pods on its wings, which release a low-speed fueling drogue. The HC-130 is specially configured to allow it to operate safely at night, refueling the Special Operations helicopters covertly. The final member of the Special Operations Wing is the AC-130.
I think the most distinguishing capability that we have is the precision and accuracy of the firepower that we can deliver. And I'll be quite honest with you, the ground forces love this airplane because it can deliver the firepower very close to its position, and the issue of fratricide is minimal because of the accurate delivery power we have with this airplane.
Gunships were among the first types of aircraft developed for Air Force Special Operations. During the Vietnam War, there was a need for an aircraft with the ability to deliver precision firepower near friendly forces. This led to several designs, including the AC-47 Spooky gunship. These gunships were based on transport aircraft, which offered both necessary size and slow-speed stability. Inevitably, the C-130 became the ultimate gunship platform. The C-130 is one of the most successful transport aircraft ever to fly, and it has proven ideal as the basis for the AC-130 Spectre. Inevitably, the C-130 became the ultimate gunship platform. The C-130 is one of the most successful transport aircraft ever to fly, and it has proven ideal as the basis for the AC-130 Spectre, specialized for the delivery of pinpoint firepower. One of the most striking features of the Spectre is its 14-man crew. No other attack aircraft has so large a crew. This many crewmen are needed to operate the multiple guns on board, as well as the sensors and computers which make the guns so accurate. The Spectre draws its crew from the Air Force's Military Airlift Command, including crews of the transport version of the C-130 Hercules, called the Slick by Spectre crews.
I feel as far as the 130 world goes, this is the cream of the crop. This is where everyone wants to be. Anyone that's flown Slicks, they will kill each other to get here, as they say. It's a great airplane.
At the heart of the AC-130 Spectre are its gun systems. As on the first gunships, the Spectre has them lined up along the left fuselage side.
We'll start at the front of the aircraft. We have two 20mm Vulcan cannons. Each one is capable of putting out a rate of fire of approximately 2,500 rounds per minute. We normally limit our bursts to 8 to 10 seconds maximum to keep the barrels cool, and also to conserve the ammunition on board. We do have a finite amount of ammunition, and normally a small dose will do more than a large burst will do anyways. We have the 40mm Bofors cannon. If you're familiar with the old World War II pom-pom guns, what we've done is taken one of the pom-pom guns off, put it on a trainable mount, and put it in the aircraft. Most of the ammunition that we shoot is 1950s vintage, so it's an unusual gun in itself. And then finally we have the big weapon, my own personal favorite, the 105 howitzer. My philosophy is start big and work your way down, but it is a very good weapon. It's a standard Army field piece.
Its 105mm gun is the largest gun carried on any combat aircraft today.
You've got to have some respect for the weapon. It recoils approximately 47 inches, and it's a couple thousand pounds. And if you're in behind it, or you fall in behind it, or your hands are in the wrong place, you could definitely get injured. But you've got to have a lot of respect for that weapon and the ammunition. So we're very careful around that weapon system.
Because the Spectre operates at night, it relies on a pair of night vision sensors to aim its weapons accurately.
We're primarily a night aircraft, and we're equipped with an infrared sensor, which you can relate it to a television camera that works off of heat sources versus the light spectrum, and it's very capable. It allows us to operate in a very dark night without any light source. In addition, we have a low light television set on board, which with some moon illumination can operate independently, and without it we can provide our own illumination, which is not visible to the naked eye. Those two unique capabilities gives us the eyes in the sky, and those sensors are tied directly into our fire control system. If you could imagine that with the tie-in that we have, where the sensor looks, the gun looks, and that makes it a very, very accurate nighttime resource.
The reason the gunship is able to deliver its firepower with such accuracy depends on tactics as well as technology. The location of the guns along the side of the aircraft permits the crew to use a special tactic, the pylon turn, which ensures consistent accuracy.
The principle is that as an airplane performs a pylon turn around a given point in space, that point in space on the ground that is the center of the pylon turn is very stable, and that gives us the bulk of our firing accuracy, and the computer is able to anticipate that as we fly around a known orbit point around the target itself.
The pylon turn maneuver is unique to the gunship and requires many practice flights for the pilot and crew to perfect this tactic.
we go out and shoot the guns every single day. Fighter pilots may in their entire fighter career get to shoot 1 or 2 missiles. They do get to fire if they've got 20 mil or 25 mil guns, or with the A-10 they got the 30 mil, they'll get to shoot that quite a bit. And an aircraft commander in this unit will get anywhere between 2 missions a week and approximately 4 to 10 missions a month.
The precision made possible by intensive training and special tactics allows targets to be struck accurately.
I would consider the typical type of target to be something that's a Jeep-sized type target or maybe larger. And, you know, certainly we can go after vehicles, we can go after personnel. In the open, for example, we may be able to see some of those and destroy those kind of targets, buildings, bunkers, things of that nature.
Combat missions have repeatedly demonstrated the value of specialized aircraft such as the Spectre. When ordinary bombing attacks are ruled out due to the proximity of civilians or friendly forces, the Spectre gunships are called in to do the job, as they were in 1990's Operation Just Cause in Panama.
A good case in point would be Just Cause, where the AC-130, one of its missions was to work on the commandancia. And you'll recall the vivid pictures of the commandancia after that, where the building was taken down with very little collateral damage outside the perimeter of the building. That is the role of the AC-130, to strike targets with limited collateral damage and with high confidence that you're not hitting something other than you intend to strike.
The AC-130 Spectre is based on a transport aircraft. And like a transport, it is big and slow. Its pivot turn maneuver gives it great accuracy, but makes it a very predictable target for enemy gunners. To minimize the risk to the crew and aircraft, it flies at night when it cannot be easily seen by the enemy.
Our tactics do put us at risk at times, and we are very limited in the environment in which we can operate. We have to take into account the threat to us on the ground and any counter-air threat that may be available. And it's not a general purpose, any place, any time type of weapon system. It's very good at a very specific mission, but we have to make sure that we pick and choose as much as we can the mission to ensure, one, success, and two, that the airplane comes home. The unique capabilities that we provide, that very precise firepower close in with a low lethality envelope, allows us to work very close to friendly forces.
The Spectre's night capabilities are reliant on its sophisticated sensors, contained in a small booth in the middle of the aircraft.
In the front right of the booth is where the electronic warfare officer sits with all that associated equipment. To my left in the front of the booth is the infrared sensor operator, who basically uses his infrared sensors to locate targets and guide the guns in on them. In the back of the booth is the TV operator, who uses the low-light television system also to find targets and guide the munitions down on them.
The night sensors are used to search for targets. The forward-looking infrared sight can detect targets even on the blackest of nights, sensing the minute heat differential between a human being and a machine. The key to the gunship's accuracy is the careful coordination of the sensor operators, the fire control officer, and the pilots.
The sensor operator is primarily responsible for target detection. The navigator gets us in the tactical working area, and the sensor coordinates with the fire control officer and navigator for target acquisition and firing on the target.
Once the target is located, the data is passed to the fire control officer. This data is loaded into the aircraft's ballistic computer, which calculates the proper ballistic trajectory and designates a target for the pilot. On modern fighters and attack aircraft, the weapons are aimed through a sight called the heads-up display, located in front of the pilot. This displays most of the critical flight information and aiming points. On the Spectre, the HUD is located on the side instead of in front of the pilot. On modern fighters and attack aircraft, the weapons are aimed through a sight called the heads-up display, located in front of the pilot. This displays most of the critical flight information and aiming points. On the Spectre, the HUD is located on the side instead of in front of the pilot.
Well, the HUD is what we use to aim the weapons. With the computer-generated symbols that we get from the HUD through the computer that's located back near the fire control officer station, that's how we aim the guns. That's when I'm shooting the weapons on this aircraft, I'm basically looking into a black hole. I can't see anything on the ground. We're firing, at altitudes that I can't distinguish ground references. I can't distinguish the target at all. But the sensors are able to see it, and their information is fed into the fire control computer, and that in turn generates the symbols on the HUD, and I use that to aim with. Once I get the symbols matched up on the HUD, then I can fire the weapons.
The pilot's decision to fire must be verified by the sensor operator to make sure that the guns are aiming in the right direction. If the pilot makes a mistake, the computer intervenes.
In that case, the computer simply prevents us from firing unless we have the proper firing solution. We work very closely with the sensors on that. Whichever sensor we're using, the TV or the infrared, it's kind of a chicken and egg question. The pilot pushes the trigger, and then when the sensor determines that he is locked onto the target, and the gun is at that point following the camera around, they are locked in by the computer. When he decides that he is locked onto the target, he pushes his consent button, and the gun will go off.
The night alone cannot protect the Spectre. Even the smallest and least advanced armies now employ radar-directed anti-aircraft guns and infrared-guided missiles. The Spectre defends itself from these threats electronically. It has sensors located around the aircraft to pick up the electronic signals of radar-directed guns that might be homing in on it. And under the aircraft are missile warning receivers. It is the job of the Spectre's electronic warfare officer to determine how the aircraft should respond to each threat. Some enemy weapons cannot be detected electronically, in which case human eyesight must be used to defend the Spectre. At the side of the aircraft sits one of the observers, and in the tail sits another, looking through a plexiglass bubble. These observers have learned from experience what enemy fire looks like.
For example, a surface-to-air missile, you'll see a bright light, basically the launch. Then the missile coming up, you'll see the plume, the aft end of the missile, which is more of a corkscrew type action coming up at you, and they're quick. They're very quick. On AAA, the gunners, they use tracers to direct their fire on different size tracers for different size AAA coming up. For example, it's more of a lines of BBs coming up at you, red BBs, and that's very, very quick. It's also very, very dangerous, very accurate.
It is the experience of crewmen like these that has made the Spectre so formidable a weapon system. The U.S. Air Force Special Ops Squadrons are among the most elite combat units in the world. Whether it's delivering troops deep behind enemy lines, or concentrating awesome firepower in close proximity to friendly forces, these airmen undertake America's most critical missions.
Special Assignment Correspondent Chuck DeCaro has taken a rare inside look at this question, and he files this exclusive report.
U.S. conventional military power, jets, battleships, and all types of troops are now committed to fighting and even preempting international terrorists. Secretary Shultz's remarks about the military combating terror stem from the top-secret National Security Decision Directive signed by President Reagan in April. The directive committed all U.S. forces except nuclear weapons units to battling terrorism. The forces will be tailored to the level of the threat. But for hostage barricade situations and the rescue of kidnapped U.S. citizens, a secret counter-terrorist unit called the Joint Special Operations Command, or JSOC, will go into action. JSOC is composed of a number of units, including Army Rangers and Special Forces Delta teams, along with Navy Sea, Air, Land, or SEAL frogmen, and other military units. We're aboard an MC-130 Combat Talon aircraft of the U.S. Air Force's 1st Special Operations Wing. We're on a mission right now, simulating the penetration of enemy territory at very low altitude. We're only about 150 feet above the terrain. This aircraft is designed to penetrate deep inside an enemy nation to support Special Forces troops operating with guerrilla units. In this exclusive report, CNN went on a number of exercises with this heretofore secret unit and saw a wide range of its capabilities. The first, a very low-level penetration of simulated enemy territory, followed by the parachuting of a combat control team into the Gulf of Mexico for a waterborne infiltration mission. The team sergeant leads his flipper-equipped unit out of the Combat Talon aircraft, clomping out of the open tail ramp behind their rubber assault boat, an ungainly but apparently effective jump method. Though strung out over a quarter of a mile, the 6 team members swim back to the assault craft, rig their gear and outboard motor, and move out, later picking up this reporter dispatched from another craft.
What we're doing is simulating a beacon placement mission where we'll place a beacon near their headquarters so that the fast movers fighter-type aircraft can come in and neutralize the command and control centers they have set up.
The combat control team approaches landfall, and a scouting party goes in to check out the area. The balance of the team follows, stealthily approaching a grove of trees near the target. The radio beacon men move out. When they return, the team quietly departs the area and heads for the boat. Later, another Combat Talon demonstrates a rescue. Thundering into a short, barren airstrip, the MC-130 drops down steeply as it would in combat to avoid small arms fire. It smacks down smartly as its pilot applies full reverse thrust and heavy brakes. Turning around rapidly, he lowers the tail ramp. This reporter and an Air Force sergeant simulating rescuees scramble aboard as the pilot, wasting no time, adds full power and begins an assault's takeoff. Another rescue method, called the Fulton Recovery System, was demonstrated next. A balloon is launched to an altitude of about 800 feet. Just below it are 2 red flags which indicate the pickup point. In the air, the aircraft commander opens the V-shaped yoke and heads straight for the gap between the red flags. Using precise handling skills, the pilot hits the nylon rope dead on. The balloon bursts as it is designed to, and its tether is hand-grabbed by a crewman leaning out of an open flight deck hatch who ties down the rope for safety. A weighted container simulating a person is pulled straight up and dragged behind the aircraft, flying at 150 miles an hour. Held in by a hydraulic lock at the center of the V-shaped yoke, the rope trails behind the aircraft, where it is snagged and winched aboard. At one point, the rope becomes snagged around the tail, and the pilot shakes his controls until the rope slides free, leaving the crewman to winch in the weighted container. Next came a demonstration of a high-speed airdrop. Because the Combat Talon does not have to slow down to parachute equipment, an enemy watching on radar would see no change in airspeed and could not determine the position of the airdrop. With its sophisticated onboard navigation systems, hundreds of pounds of cargo can be delivered at night and in the worst weather to within a couple of hundred yards of the target. The 250-mile-an-hour drop speed gives enemy gunners only a fleeting target.